river system, early fall time of the year up here in the Midwest. You know, a lot of times when we think about rivers, we're using our eyes visually to pick out what we're throwing at, but we're also going to use our electronics to help us identify some of the underwater structures. And I'll typically start with topwater. That can be a really good way to identify where a group of fish is. Anything faster moving. And then if we find them, start catching some and they maybe quit biting, then I'll slow down with some different presentations. So, oh, there's one. That one was shallow. It's a decent smallmouth on top. Come here. There we go. Nice smallmouth to start our day. Hopefully just showed us that there's a group of them up there. All right, we're out here searching some sand drops on a river system here, and kind of want to show you guys what makes a good sand drop versus others. And to get us in the right area, mapping's a huge deal. You can see a bunch of red and green up above here that tells me there's some shallow water. And then it dumps down into this deeper hole. And you know, from a distance, being on bank, studying at home, you wouldn't really know what it is, but you can idle those areas pretty quickly. And this doesn't show us a great picture of the drop. We're getting a little bit of the drop right here, but you can see those dunes. And that's gonna tell us, yep, okay, this is sand, it's not rock, it's not grass, and that'll get us started in the right area. And anytime you got a main river channel, shallow water up above, and then a side channel along with it, a lot of times that current's gonna shoot out of that side channel, and right below it on the back side, bottom side of those side channels, I call them secondary current areas, you're generally gonna have a shallow sand spot right below it that then dumps into the main river channel into some deeper water. And those are generally my favorite areas to look for sand drops. So you can see it on side imaging. There's a lot going on here, a lot of little sand dune drops. And then we've got a nice picture here on our DI and our 2D. We paused it just so we can show it here. But this is what we're fishing. You know, the shallow sand up here, simply, we call them sand drops. They're just a drop off, that's all it is. They might not seem like much to someone that's used to fishing bigger drop offs, but those are super key. And those fish like to position themselves right here. The current will flow over the top. The bait will come over the top, and those fish are waiting right there to ambush those things. And that's what we're trying to look for on these river systems. You know, early fall, summertime. They're even on them pre-spawn in the spring. But a great way to find them really grouped up, a great time to find them grouped up is here in the early fall time of the year. So when I'm fishing these sand spots or river current in general, you know, when you find that spot that you want to make the same cast at over and over again and you spot lock, I'm not using my Mega Live so much in those situations to really see what I'm fishing. That's really where 360 comes into play. And you can see the sand drop here. Right here is a real good idea what a sand drop looks like on 360. And at times you'll see fish right, you know, you'll see the shadows of those fish on 360. But that's a good picture of what we're fishing right here. Got him. Oh, another one on top, right on the sand there. The setup we're throwing is, we got braid to our top water and more of a limber rod. This is actually kind of a chatterbait rod. I like the braid because I can work the bait real easy, even on a long cast. Decent little chunk. And when those fish do eat it, you just start reeling and lean into them, and the no stretch braid will help you get those hooks in that fish. But then the parabolic bend on, you know, more of a crankbait chatterbait rod is going to help you keep them pinned. And you're not going to hook and land every fish on this setup, but it's going to give you a better chance than, say, throwing monofilament or a stiffer rod. You know, that monofilament, the high stretch on it just doesn't allow you to get those hooks in real good on a long cast. So that braid's going to help with that. And then the flexible rod is definitely a must with treble hook baits. So they're showing themselves. That tells me there's some fish in the area. Next, I'll go subsurface. If they get off that top water, or if maybe you've gone through a feeding window where they're biting that top water for whatever it might be, 15 minutes, half hour, you catch a couple on it and then they get off of it, then I'll show them something different like a swim bait or a trap. And ultimately then we'll really slow down with some other stuff too, to just really maximize our bites out of that group. So we know there's some fish there, and I'm gonna just pick up a lipless crankbait, just a shad profile color, real similar color to that top water. And we're just grinded on that sand. You know, reel the thing as fast as you can over it. There's one right away, first cast with it. Not a real big one, but it's what we like to see, right where we had that top water bite. Nice river smallmouth. He just got the back hook there. Not a giant, but a fun size smallmouth. First cast with the lipless crank. Let's say you catch a few out of it and they shut down, they kind of get smart to what we're doing here. If you mark a spot, come back later, there's a good chance they'll be set up there still. They just need to reposition and not see a bait for a little while. Gosh, that one hammered it. Right on the sand. Right on that drop we were just pointing out on 360 on the trap. A decent one. Let's see if I can land them here. Treble hooks and smallmouth don't always mix. You're not always gonna land them, but if you can just keep good pressure on them and don't give them too much slack, you have a better chance. But treble hooks and smallmouth, you're just gonna lose some, but we'll see if we can't get this one in. And if you can get them near the boat and scoop them and try not to grab your line, you have a better chance of landing them. There we go, decent one. On the lipless there. Got a sleeve full of water, but got a decent smallmouth. Well, that's fun. Good chunky fish. You can see it's feeding up for the fall there. Right on that sand drop. Topwater fish. Gave away the school and now we're following up with some subsurface baits. Decent chunk there. So now we're on to our third progression of fishing these sand drops in terms of our bait. We finally slowed down, dragging a plastic. The Carolina rig is a really good tool for fishing these sand flats. My personal most favorite bodies of water to fish are river systems. Your spring and fall times of the year, you have a decent likelihood of fishing in higher water situations, heavy current situations, and having a really strong trolling motor in terms of being efficient with battery power, but also speed, is gonna allow you to stay out on the water and enjoy your days longer than maybe we could in the past. All right, now we got spot lock on right where we've caught some of those fish. There's one on the sea rig. We're spot locked down here, right in the current, allowing us to make precise casts right to where that group of fish is. It's a decent one, we'll swing them in. We got just one hook here, a little easier to swing them on that. Another chunky smallmouth. Carolina rig, little cross style plastic there. Awesome time of year to be on these systems. Using fast moving baits to start to locate those groups of fish and then slowing down once we find them.